Well, welcome everyone to another Workshop Wednesday, casual conversations for serious workflows, brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, keeping you learning QuickBooks your way. How are you, Rachel?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, fantastic. So this is our next in our series of kind of covering the overview of the newest, I guess we'll
Yes.
just call it the newest, because I'm sure this is not the last
Yeah, not the
change
last. But it's
of
okay though.
the
I'm liking it. I'm really liking it.
the user interface has undergone quite a renaissance in the last 6 months. So now we're pretty sure the dust is settled. Although it was kind of funny yesterday on the QB Power Hour. I was fumbling around trying to find something, doing a demonstration. So Sharon was like, co-host was like, well, it's nice. We feel validated that you're stumbling around.
That's why we have the search bar.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that was the answer, actually, to find my struggles yesterday. But
And
we're
I'm
going
an
to be talking.
impatient person, so I
Right.
need a search bar.
Exactly. Right, because that's part of the challenge, is that when something moves, any of your old, the muscle memory of where you would go to find these things also goes with it. And
Yeah.
and that's what's consistent is, well, at least what should be consistent is searching. Being able to search inside of the program should find your answer, right? And is that your default workflow when something does change in the user interface, or do you just try to struggle through it?
Do I search for it or do I struggle through it?
Do you use the search, or do you look for it
I
first?
will I will usually always just give up and try and search. But I also use Right Tool. So Right Tool
Right.
search is excellent because QBO search, sometimes I like, okay, for example, and I'll just tell you really quick and then you can go on. I can never find app transactions. And a lot of times when I'm looking at new clients,
Mm-hmm.
I have sort of a list of things I'm always, potential new clients, things I'm looking at through their QBO. I want to see what do they have turned on? What are they doing? Yada, yada. I always look at app transactions because a lot of times I see things on the P&L that I'm like, oh, I bet that came from app transactions. I can't figure out where that thing is. I have no idea. And I know it's somewhere, but I always end up Right Tool, app transactions, just brings it right up because I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about stuff like Right Tool next week when
Okay.
we talk about some of the things that you can do to kind of lessen the volatility
Yeah.
of change, make things a little bit more consistent. Because I think in the grand scheme of things, because accountants and bookkeepers, power users of QuickBooks Online, you get into a habit of the way that things are navigated to, and then
Mm-hmm.
when that gets interrupted, then unlearning what you already know and then relearning what you need to know is a step back in the whole process, right? So
Yeah,
we're
and it can
gonna
be really frustrating because sometimes the learning curve to learn it in the first place takes a while.
right.
So you don't it's not the most pleasant feeling in the world when all of a sudden what you knew and took time to learn is gone.
Yeah, and I guess what it really what the question is, right? The question, the underlying question, I think that we ask ourselves, besides why, but the reason that we're trying to understand, well, why did they make this change, or why did they do all these make all these changes? Is it more efficient? Like, is it worth the change? Like, what is it? What's the underlying thing to make this better,
Hmm.
right? Is that what you kind of go through when you are dealing with anything new? It really
Yeah.
doesn't have to be with QuickBooks. It has to be with anything that undergoes a change.
Yeah. I know that their motivation is to improve it. And I know from their point of view too, they're probably like, oh, we have 75 things we need to change over time. And they're trying to condense it down into one big change so they don't have to keep doing it all the time. I totally get it. And then, for me, I work in other softwares that have almost become just as important to me as QuickBooks Online. I'm in them so frequently that a lot of times that becomes the source of truth. And the same thing happens with that. And then I have to learn that when they make changes. And Shopify, because I'm in Shopify all the time, they move things. And I just discovered yesterday that Shopify Partner Console moved something that I couldn't even find. And so it happens all the time with all these apps. And so you really have to just sort of get over yourself and be like, okay, fine. I mean,
Update
and honestly, in
team.
a world where now we have Chat GPT, that, if I can't find something, I can always go to Chat GPT and say, where is this in Shopify, maybe, if I don't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we do have a lot of tools to help these big
yeah.
changes.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and share my screen here because I forgot to do that ahead of time, and plus I got kicked out because of my my camera was acting up right before we went live. So came back in and I was Rachel. I was like, oh, must explain some things here. So what we're going to be talking about today is, if I can zoom in a little bit, is this global navigation bar across the top. Now, first thing I want to talk about is that the color of this global navigation bar up across the top is going to be determined by whether you're in. I'm sorry, you can't see it if you're watching on the stream because I've got a logo over the. Maybe I should remove the workshop Wednesday thingy here. There we go. Now you can see the whole thing. If you're in Intuit Accountant Suite, you're going to see this green bar across the top. So that by the color by itself is going to tell you whether you're in your firm or whether you're in your client. Because as soon as you go into a client, we'll just choose.
Yeah, that's so funny. I never even noticed that until you pointed it out. My eyes, I just don't notice things like that.
Now that I'm in a client, it's gray, eggshell. I don't know what this color actually.
Light gray.
Yeah, a haze, because that's what we're in for with with QuickBooks. Sometimes is a haze, glaze over your eyes.
But that is
Well,
a really important distinction, because especially if you're toggling back and forth between things all day, until you pointed it out, I didn't really notice, but now I instantly recognize it. Like,
yeah,
oh, okay, here's where I
yeah.
am.
It used to be black and then white or green. I don't. There was a color shift, and that's
Mm-hmm.
as you're in your firm and potentially going into multiple clients, you just want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is not affecting your data.
Right.
It's actually in your client's data. So excuse me, I'm getting all choked up here. All right. Wow, the frog jumped in there really quickly. So let me make this bigger so we can see it. So the first thing is what version or what QuickBooks you are. So in the upper left, it's gonna, if if you're in Intuit Accountant Suite, it's going to have Intuit Accountant Suite. If you're in a client, it'll just say Intuit QuickBooks. Nothing you can do there other than go back to the home page, right? So if you're in a client, um, we'll jump into a client here real quick here. So now it says Intuit QuickBooks in the upper left. If I were to click on that, that will take me back to my practice, right? So now I'm back to the firm. It's basically a home screen. Take you back home, right? You can now the next thing over here is the company drop down, right? The company switcher. I don't know what you would call it in what the technical term for it is.
I have no idea.
But this is where you would be able to switch between clients relatively quickly, right? So you can you have the ability to search for a client. So if you've got a client list of hundreds or thousands, right? So that will be a challenge to sort through, right? So you can search for a client. I'm just going to search for all my conversion evaluations. So now I've got everything that has eval in the name of the company name. All right, so you do have the ability to search for it, which is good. And then you're going to have this section that will talk about the recently viewed. You can also collapse it, which I just now noticed.
I never noticed that. Ugh.
Yeah. So this is universal, right? And I think that's part of the reason that they decided to do all of this user interface changes.
Notice that? I'm so dumb sometimes.
Is this little arrow, right? Is depending on where it's pointing, gives you an indication as to whether it's expanded or not. But of course, you can access any of these recently viewed ones, and then it goes into the alphabetized version of all of your clients. So if you want to scroll through, you certainly could. So that's the company switcher, right? So it allows you to hit the drop down. Doesn't matter if you're in a client or not, you will see that company drop down, and you'll be able to select company to switch company. Moving across here, this is where we're talking about the global search or the super search, which at first, as soon as you click in there, it's going to give you a list of recent transactions in the company that you're in. So you'll be able to see that, and show more in there will take you to the advanced search. So then that will take you into this area to look in, all areas or just transactions or the help topics, right? So this will give you the ability to just think of what it is that you're looking for. I don't know what I want to look for here. So let's just, yesterday, right, I was looking for item receipts. Couldn't find it. So I just started typing, as per the suggestion of the webinar yesterday. They said, well, just use the search. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I just searched for item, and now I can jump to the item receipt. Well, why didn't it take me to?
Well, Dan, sometimes the search doesn't exactly do what you want it to. I'm sorry if I'm just enlightening you about this right now. But I do appreciate, though, is if it can't find it, it'll pop you up to advanced search, or at the bottom of this thing, you can go into advanced. A lot of times I'm looking for a specific dollar amount, and I will tell you this search function for that is worth its weight in gold.
Right. Now, when you search for some like a dollar amount, do you recommend putting in the dollar sign? Because as I put in 400, it brought up everything that has.
You could probably. I never actually thought of doing that, but like, for example, yesterday we were looking for a bill that didn't get applied to the right, or sorry, a payment that didn't get applied to the right bill. It was like for $734.56. And when you're looking for a very specific number like that, I can just put in 734.56 and it'll just find it. And And I'm telling you, like before we had this search, it was such a long process to try and find it. Now it'll just pull it right up. So talk about a time saver. But let's say I was searching for 500, even
Mhm.
that I think would probably bring up lots of different things, including
Right.
invoices that have the digits 500 in it. But so you're saying put the dollar sign and it'll really only bring up
Yeah.
a financial transaction of that amount.
Yeah. You see this, I did
Okay.
187 and it brought up that particular
Yeah.
transaction that had a dollar amount in it. But if I were to choose 180, well, that was a bad choice.
Bad example.
If I did 100, 1100, right? These are all the transactions of that dollar amount.
Yeah.
If I did 100, this check, right, is
Yeah. Exactly.
let's see. This item receipt has 1002
Yeah. If it's got
number.
that sequence of digits, then it'll bring up everything under the sun that contains that.
So yes, you can put in the dollar sign, and then that will filter it for just dollar sign. That those fields that don't contain that character will then get excluded. So another way to get more, get a better option. What's the word I'm looking for? Just to be able to use this search a little bit more succinctly.
Yeah.
I do like that it gives you the ability to create copies of the transactions for bills. Here, I just now noticed that as well. That's the only transaction that gives you this create copy. No, there's invoices and bills. Now from here, give you this create copy, and then now you're dealing with a new transaction, right? So if you're looking for an old one and wanting to create a new one, you can do that from there. Okay, let's go back here. So that's the search across the top here, and that brings me to my question of the day. What option in the global navigation bar do you use the most? Just throwing that in the chat there. So moving over here, we've got some new icons or newish icons with regards to the new user interface. We want to discuss what we can do here. So this is the task. Now this is going to, if I click on it, it resizes my whole screen. But if I click on it, it opens up this task panel from the right side. And tasks are something that's specific to Intuit Accountant Suite or QuickBooks Online Advanced, right? So if you're
Yeah.
not using QuickBooks Online Advanced or Intuit Accountant Suite, you won't see tasks. Do you use, Rachel, the tasks at all, or have you trained your
Not in.
clients to use them?
No, we don't. We use something else.
So this flows into the next screen as well, because this lightning bolt icon is the workflow automation section. It used to be, buried deep in the side menu somewhere, and I think this is part of the reason why, when we ask ourselves these questions, why is Intuit, changing, or why does technology change regardless? I think these two features of tasks and workflows, they were buried,
They
pretty
were.
pretty
Yeah.
pretty deep in the side navigation, that I think people just didn't really understand either what they were or how to get to them. Um, and they are pretty robust, right? So like
Yeah.
the workflow automation, and we've talked about these things as well, but in advance they come up with they have a variety of templates that you can work with. And what this will allow you to do is, with these templates, you can assign an action. So it's almost like having a little bit of Zapier
Hmm.
inside of QuickBooks, because you can have a trigger event. What would you like to automate, right? It's going to give you this ability for any of these options in the drop down. But you're going to have this action based off of this workflow that you're going to be creating. And you can create a notification or a task or an email, or remind somebody to do something, which will provide a task and put a task in the task list so that you, as a overseer of the company, or workflows that are occurring, you can have a bird's eye view of what's actually going on and what people should be doing versus what is actually done. And this task list will assign uh, tasks to people, and if you're an admin, you can come in here and see what tasks are being worked on, how long are things taking, and know who to wag the finger at if you
Yeah.
don't see tasks getting
Well, I
moved.
mean, and the automations are so important now these days with the work that we're doing, and especially we're doing so many things that a lot of times things would fall through the cracks. So when you create these automations, it definitely helps that. It prevents that from happening. But everybody that I know at this point, if they're in and they're using QBO accountant suite, they're dealing with lots of clients, and they've got a team, and they've got a lot going on, and everybody that I know has incorporated automation into their practice. And even if they're a solopreneur, I still know everybody, not everybody, most people are using some kind of automation. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be able to work without it. And not only that, I mean, Intuit, they have to put this stuff front and center. They're positioning themselves as tech leaders in the space, and they've long since entered the AI market, and their interface has to reflect all the things that they're doing. So of course they have to move it to the top. It just makes sense.
Yeah. And if they make it front and center and people still aren't using it, then that's when things get on the radar of
Yeah.
like, okay, well,
Yeah.
why are
Of
we
course.
developing this if nobody's going to
Yeah.
use it, right? So I don't know if there's a life cycle of of things like that, to make the change, but this is pretty powerful, right? The
Yeah.
workflows and the tasks, because that bridges the gaps between doing something or something being done and somebody else needing to do something, right? So either you can have QuickBooks update something as part of these workflows, and if it's not, then you can assign it to someone, a person, to do that. So when you're looking at people and processes and programs, right, you can start to organize your workflows into who needs to do them, right? So it's
Yep.
either going to be a process or where things get done, and it's either by who. It's either going to be the program doing it, or it's going to need to be a person, right? So that's where we have AI and HI, coming into play. Oops, I skipped right over this one, which is the integrations, and this is, as we talked about, when we were talking about just the terminology and glossary of changes that have been taken place as far as the terminology is concerned. What we used to refer to as apps, because apps now is a grouping of workflows inside of
Yeah.
QuickBooks as
Or the
far as QuickBooks
modules
is concerned.
now are called,
Yeah.
they're calling apps.
Yeah, that would actually be a great synonym, is modules, right? So the
Hmm.
payroll or expenses or money coming in or the customer hub, those are all modules of QuickBooks. And then
Yeah,
but
I
now
actually prefer the word module,
the
but
term, yeah,
I would have
module
rather
would
left
take up
the apps be called app.
modules would take up 3 more characters. So real
Gotta
estate
be
on the
efficient over
screen
there.
is a commodity, right? So they changed the term to what we used to call apps, third party applications, is now integrations, right? So you've
Hmm.
got my integrations, which will show you, at a glance, what's been connected to this company. It'll put these little alerts if there is something for you to do about them, mostly because they've become disconnected, right? So spreadsheet sync from this particular company has become disconnected. Transaction Pro Importer and Melio, for a good reason, Melio has become discontinued, disconnected from this firm. And then put the green sign if it's something that is actively connected, and then you can go in here to manage those integrations, or if you're looking for new ones, you can find new ones, and that will take you to the integration hub or app center. I don't know what they're calling it now, because it goes to multiple different places, or the terms, I should say. So you've got where you can find integrations, you can manage your integrations, and if you're in your firm for Intuit Accountant Suite, then you can see the client integrations of all of your clients in one place.
Yeah, by the way, I noticed that they're calling certain ones accountant approved integrations. I wonder if they have a section called not approved by accountants, or
Right.
accountant disliked apps.
Right. Yeah, they don't have the detractor version.
Detested
So
by accountants under this list.
that's right. The accountant detested apps.
Actually, I have some suggestions for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
list,
I'm sure
but
you do.
I won't say anything.
Okay, and then just like right on cue, I didn't have any notifications, which was this bell icon, just showed up. What is the recommendation? Oh, reminder that there's a bank holiday
Ooh.
that may affect direct deposit. So
Oh
this is a
yeah,
nice little
Memorial Day.
notification to keep you updated. This is going to come from Intuit, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily notifications to, well, I guess your inbox will notify you as well. So if you are using the request feature, or communicating in the bank feed with your client, you will see that in the notifications inbox here at the top. You can also filter. Well, you can select all of them if you wanted to, so that they are cleared, so that you don't see those. What can we do here? The only thing we can do here is just learn more about that notification that came from Intuit, and we can't get rid of the badge. How do we clear it off? I guess we have to click learn more, and let's see, where did it go? Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, did it go into the same window?
I
It
don't
did.
know.
It did. Didn't even pop over to a new tab.
Oh.
But my navigation badge notification went away. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that. Now
now
you
that
got to
I
click
have
into it.
learned more
It
about,
go away.
even though I haven't learned more about
I know. But you know what? I'm like that too. I don't like having outstanding notifications. Like,
yeah,
I'm just one of those people where I don't like that. It
clear it off.
stresses me out.
The badge annoys you. Yeah.
I just get very, very stressed out. Jamie's like that
Look,
too. She
look at
doesn't
how
like
many.
having things as undone.
Yeah,
She likes having everything all like tied up and done.
you can't see it, but I have 19,267 unread emails.
Oh my gosh. Dan DeLong.
Anyway, okay, so moving on to that. So Ledger Artist, who's watching, says they like to use the gear icon the most. Of course, that's probably standard, right? Because
Yeah.
you've got, as far as navigating around, right, you're either going to be creating things, which is going to be from the create button, or you're going to be changing settings, which is going to be from the gear icon. So this is where everything that has to deal with this company, or you, whoever happens to be logged in, um, will show inside of here. So it's grouped into major areas, or categorized by different areas of the settings. So you're going to have anything that has to deal with settings. So it'll get you into your company settings. The custom form styles options are here. default report settings are in here, chart of accounts. If you're using payroll, the payroll settings will show here, workers' comp, and HR advisor if you're using the elite, and those services, employee benefits, getting the desktop app. This is a shortcut to getting the options, which we'll be talking about next week. Additional info. This is new. Well, this is not new. They had these company ID and keyboard shortcuts listed before, but in here there's more shortcuts. So they're broken it down by general, the bank transactions,
Wait,
transaction
where did you
form.
get to that? Because I never know where to go for these shortcuts. Do that again.
Well, that is there's a shortcut for that,
Yeah.
which on a Mac is Control Option and question mark key. That will bring that up.
Oh yeah,
Or
that's right.
if you're
Okay.
on a Windows machine, it's Control Alt and the question mark key. Or this additional info is from the gear menu. So
Oh,
you get
additional
the
info.
gear
Okay.
icon, and then additional info will bring that up. Then we have the priority circle. So this priority circle is something that you will only see if you're on advanced. So priority circle is the on-demand training library that's done through real world training, which has been Intuit's training partner since I started there back in the year 2000. And then if you're in your firm, you're going to see the payments revenue share option in there, and it's a quick way to get to that. Lists is your next section, so you're going to see all the lists, products and services, recurring transactions, attachments, custom field rules, and currencies. Now that's rules for bank rules, not price rules. We need to make sure we're understanding which rules we're talking about there. And then you have a whole bunch of tools. So the managing the workflows, which is the same thing as hitting that lightning bolt, reclassifying transactions, ordering checks, which will take you out to another website to be able to order checks, importing data, importing desktop data, which will take you to just screens, starting that process, exporting data, your reconciliation, budgeting, accessing the spreadsheet sync, audit log, merging duplicate clients. This is IAS or Intuit Accountant Suite tool to merge those clients together. Share screen. This is if you're on the phone with Intuit and they ask to share your screen. That's an easy way for them to be able to see just the QuickBooks on your screen, whatever's on your screen, instead of everything that might be in your browser. Transfer clients. That's where you would send. This is all part of transferring in realm consolidation, as we had talked about it. I think one of the days that you weren't here, Rachel, we talked about
Oh,
merge
yeah.
realm
Okay.
consolidation.
I had never seen that before, and that you have to do one at a time, right?
You can select multiples, right? So yeah, so this is something that you can specify clients to transfer from one firm to the other. Like if you have multiple firms and you are the primary admin of both of those firms, you get the most out of, especially since Intuit Accountant Suite is going to start charging for the platform. So if you're on Accelerate and you have multiple firms, QBOAs or Intuit Accountant Suite, you don't want to pay for them twice. So, but you want to have all of your clients for those client insights under one place. So
yeah, see, I am going to have to do that because I do have the two firms now, and I am going to have to do that. And not yet, but I didn't realize that they had that was in the gear to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll send you the workshop that you were supposed to be on. Walks through that process.
And then merge duplicate clients. That wouldn't be they would invite you into their QBO twice. It would really be like if you had created a client before you were in their QBO. And like I do that all the time. I manually create them as a client and then I'm invited into their QBO. Sometimes I want to duplicate. I mean, that creates a duplication and then I just want to merge
Exactly.
those two.
Exactly. Like
Okay.
you've created them as a client before they become a QBO subscription or a subscriber
Yeah.
and invited you into their firm.
But I
That
don't think it would work if you wanted to, you can't merge two subscriptions into
no,
one, right?
no, yeah, you can't do that. So
Okay.
if I wanted to bring all these Al's liquor stores under one company because they each have their own subscription, that would not allow. That wouldn't allow.
Right. You can't squish three ledgers together.
Exactly. Especially since these actually are individual. These are individual subscriptions. They're not the same. They're actually different locations of Al's liquor store.
I mean, I guess maybe you could, but you'd really, really need a genius to untangle that.
Yeah, yeah. That's even above my pay grade. And then resolution center. So oftentimes, if there is a request done from Intuit, they'll put it in your resolution center. Like if you have to upload uh, your some documentation or something for payments or payroll issue, resolution center is where you should be able to access those things. But as an accountant, I have never seen the resolution center um, act.
Yeah.
Show me the resolutions.
Yeah.
Or
And
the cases.
also, I prefer not, I opt out of those things with
Mm,
Intuit help. This is why we have School of Bookkeeping and Dan DeLong.
exactly. And then you have your company section. So what's new, which will give you the access or what's new in the in QuickBooks, and then subscription and billing, your team, so you add more people to your firm. There's a getting started sample company. So you'll have the access to the sample company. It's just keep in mind that when you do go into the sample company, it logs you out of your Intuit login. So you do end up having to sign back into your QuickBooks if you do go into the sample company that's there. Like if you're
By
showing
the
it.
way, is everybody in the world sharing Craig's landscaping, or does it launch you into your own instance of it?
It's your own instance, so you don't see other people entering data
Okay.
into it. It's basically like a shared uh, starting point, right? So
Okay.
as soon as you exit out of it, your data or whatever you did is purged out back to the starting point. If you log into it again, you would not see your information there either.
So
Right?
it's not everybody working in one
Correct. Yeah.
brain, basically, because that would be like pluribus.
Mhm. Exactly. Don't want that. And then switching privacy to look at Intuit's privacy notifications and their terms for your privacy, as well as switching company. So if you did want to switch firms, right? So if you're in your firm and you want to switch firms, then switching company will get you back to that company selector screen, and you'll be able to go into different companies. And then for the time being, we have this option to downgrade your Intuit Accountant Suite back to uh, any Intuit or QuickBooks Online Accountant or QBOA. Eventually, this will be turned into something else, right? So we've seen this down at the bottom show up in different things. Like you're looking at Business View, or Accountant
Yeah.
View, so you can switch between
Well,
that.
because right now you're not using Accountant Suite Core. You've upgraded it to the
Right.
Accountant Suite, whatever the next thing is. But at a certain point, you got to start paying for that.
Yes, yeah, which will be at this point June 30th of this year is the
Mhm.
cutoff date of when they're going to start doing that. So keep talking about that on the workshop. So reminds me to get out of that
Yeah.
if I don't need that.
Yeah.
All right, and then the in product help is the oh wait, there was something else. Oh, in a client, let's go into a client real quick here, because there is another area for clients you don't see as a in a firm called My Experts. Um, so as an accountant user inside of the client, the only thing you're going to see is to get expert help, talk to my accountant. Right? But as a end user, they see all sorts of other things in there. I don't know that I have a login that's not an
Yeah, what
accountant
do
view.
they see? Because I have never not seen it from an accountant view.
All right, that's that might be well, they're going to see things like the QuickBooks Live, right? Or they're going to see things that aren't um, accountant focused, right? Or bookkeeper focused, right? So it'll be the Intuit services or suite of offerings that might be able to be added on
I'm
to.
sorry. That makes me angry.
It is a little bit yeah.
That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. So that's a menu that you see there, and it's interesting that accountant users can't see the same
Yeah,
thing
and
that
it
the
is
end user.
aggravating because, again, as somebody who is always talking to potential new clients and blah blah blah,
Mhm.
I constantly get the, well, I reached out to this and they told me this, and I don't know. It's just, and then I have to have the conversation and say, well, sometimes they don't always know, and it just
Mhm.
it's a headache.
Yeah, exactly. But it can complement depending on what it is that they're talking about, right? Like if
Yeah,
they're talking about something that really is in the line or the realm of consulting, then that's not the expert you want to be talking to.
right.
If you're asking somebody who's like, well, how do I transfer my clients, right? They would know that, right? Like they
Yeah.
should know the functions of the program. So the last thing here is the help. So this is helpful to at least know that it's here, right? And I just noticed before we went live today that you can actually filter for different products in here. So this will look at everything, QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Workforce. So if you're having nothing to do with payroll, you can get rid of the workforce, and if it's not dealing with desktop, get rid of that as well. And then you can do your search at
Oh,
that
that's
point.
nice. Yeah.
So you can filter in for that. What I go in here for is if I need to talk to somebody, right? Because you got the contact us down here at the bottom. It's going to ask you, um, to type in something, which means that I can't talk and type at the same time. My screen is blank. I'll just put that in there. And then it's going to, potentially search for some of the things that you might be looking for. But then it's going to give you your options of how do you want to connect with Intuit, and it does give you a multitude of choices. You can chat with someone, you can schedule a time for them to call you back. It'll tell you you're next in line, so the wait time is only 5 minutes. If I wanted them to call me back, I tend to use the callback feature more so than the phone number. One, it's going to ask me more questions before it actually give me the phone number. Uh,
Yeah.
and that phone tree will just, based on my answers when I call, it may send me somewhere that I didn't intend to go. Right.
Wait,
So
so give me an example of something that you would reach out to ask.
if I know that there's a problem, right? It's like and if so I called them actually yesterday or the other day. I'm trying to remember what I called about. Oh, it was I had actually had to call them twice. One is I had referred someone to revenue share, and
Hmm.
so I created the company for QuickBooks Online Advanced and put it under revenue share. And so I went to go. He's subscribed, So I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure that this is in my revenue share portal before,
Uh-huh.
um, so I know what to expect. The screen was blank. So when I went to look at it, the screen tried to load, but then it gave the Chrome issue of the sad face thing.
Yeah.
So I had to call them about that, and you know trying to get to the right person who understood what I was talking about first was would be part of the challenge if I were to just call in, right? Because I was
Right.
like,
That's what I'm
oh,
saying is like you being Dan DeLong, knowing what you know, knowing who is over there manning the phones and, the limited amount of knowledge they may have or it's siloed in different places and who you're
exactly.
talking to may just not know about this one thing. Like, what's your threshold of I'm not going to bother calling or yeah, I think somebody there will know. Like how
It's
do you make that determination?
I make the determination is if uh, is this just affecting me or is this affecting other people? And if
Mhm.
it's affecting other people, I think I need to report it, right? So if it's
Mhm.
something that I need to report, like in this particular case, it was, it could potentially be affecting everybody, right?
Mhm.
Because if anybody who is going into, the revenue share portal and is coming up with a sad Google face,
Yeah.
all snap.
Yeah, they all
uh,
snap, yeah.
yeah.
And
Uh,
it wasn't a browser issue?
it wasn't a browser issue, which of course they started. Okay, let's clear your cache and cookies. Let's
Mhm.
try it in the. They started to do the whole troubleshooting things, which I understood that they need to do that before they can talk to the next person.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is, like, I would factor that into my, "I don't have the time for this kinda call thing. I know they're gonna make me do all that, so, it's not worth it to call." Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, do you even you're benevolent and you're like, "It could be affecting other people." Um, I'm not really that
Yeah.
I'm not really that,
In this
um
particular case,
like, I'm not that thoughtful. I'm more
right.
selfish. I'm like,
Well,
okay, if it's affecting my revenue share, I don't care about anybody else. I'd call for just for my thing.
right. And that was part of the thing is that I want to see this whole process from end to end and see where the failure points are, right?
Okay.
Like
Okay.
so, all right, for somebody who's entertaining, the revenue share option, this experience so far has been not great, right? Like so I
Mhm.
wouldn't necessarily recommend, the revenue share, for somebody who's looking for, well, uh how do I make some money with QuickBooks?
Right.
Recommending services, right? Maybe going with a QSP, might be a better alternative because you don't have to deal with any of this stuff
Yeah.
when you're working through a QuickBooks solution provider. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
They have to
so
deal with it.
yeah, so and that's why I didn't want to chat with somebody, right?
Right.
Because the chat is, I worked on the other side of the fence, right? So,
Yes.
I was a chat agent for a while. I know what you do, right? You cannot talk to uh, like if you're on the phone, you can't be on chat. But if you're on chat, you can actually multitask. And the people
Mhm.
actually do take multiple contacts at the same time. So when you're on chat, and so those people are, that's their workflow is that they can manage multiple chats. So they're going to be taking, a little less thought involved
Right. Right. Right.
chats to be able to do that. A lot of times they're just, they're copying and pasting stuff because that's what they're doing is they're providing the
Right.
knowledge that you're
That's
not
why where
finding.
they're going to the website and they're finding, and that's why for me that's almost unusable. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I'm curious to know, like, if really, um, if in your opinion, any of the sources, whether it be chat or speaking to a live person or anything, are any of them skilled enough or high level enough or tuned in enough to where they could actually answer a pretty complex question accurately, do you think?
Yes. I mean, it's going to be somebody on the phone, right?
Okay.
Somebody who's going to be on the phone, but that's a roulette wheel of, you know, who do you get when they finally pick up the phone,
Yeah.
right? So the callback, in my opinion, is probably the best one to utilize because one, it knows who you are when you are requesting a callback, so
Mhm.
that callback is automatically under your account, right?
Yeah.
So the phone calling in uh, doesn't doesn't know that, right? So it's all based off of the phone number that you dial in from, right? So
So you
um,
could potentially be getting the same person over and over and over, and especially if they're a helpful person, that's good.
potentially, but it's very rare that you're going to be
Oh.
getting the same person on the
Mhm.
phone, regardless of which way you call in. But
Mhm.
the I understand. The first person to pick up is likely the next person who's graduated from chat, right?
Yeah.
So you that's your baseline of what could potentially who's answering the phone, right? It could be
Yeah.
somebody who's their first day, or it could be somebody who's been there for a while, right? But there's going to be a hierarchy of levels of knowledge and support, which there's going to be a team lead for those
Yeah.
people that as it gets out of their comfort zone, they're going to have to talk to that person, and then if it's outside of that person's comfort zone, they're going to have to talk to somebody. So
Oh
in
man,
my
that's
case,
rough. Yeah. I
in
mean, and
my
that's why
case,
I rarely reach out to help because
yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
can't deal with it. And on a funny note,
mhm.
the other day my dad said that he was going to call Amazon. And I was like, "Oh, you're going to call Amazon. Okay, let me know how that works."
Right. First, you got to find the phone number.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I responded back in my text. I said, "One does not call Amazon. It
Yeah,
doesn't exist. Sorry."
they can call you if you find the way to request it,
Yeah.
which is really cool because all of a sudden your phone rings and like, oh, it's the Amazon guy. And then last couple things before we wrap up today. So you've got the icon here for it's going to have your initial. So in my case, it's got the D. And then you can go into your Pro Advisor profile or manage your Intuit account or just sign out from there. And then the sparkly Intuit Intelligence Chat GPT esque type of way of communicating with your QuickBooks is there as well. So a lot of stuff that they've crammed into
Yeah.
the global search bar. So it's
And
it,
just one
hard
last
to come in.
question. Do you know, did Intuit develop their own Intuit Intelligence AI tool, or is this powered by something else?
Well, this is
Is
well,
it
let's ask
is
it.
it open AI or whatever? Just because I'm so in love with Claude right now that I'm like, maybe it's Claude. No, I doubt it.
No, um, so Intuit developed its own you know in artificial intelligence um, called Gen OS, right? So that
Mm,
was its large language model that it was creating. Um, Clearly, it's harder to start from scratch than it would be to leverage something that's already in use. Um, so this
yeah.
is so I asked it, "Are you Gen OS or ChatGPT?" This is the answer. I am an AI assistant created by Intuit to help with QuickBooks and related business questions. I am not Gen OS or ChatGPT, but I use AI technology to assist you effectively. How may I help you with your business report?
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Okay.
Tell me about Intuit's arrangement with Chat
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I find AI so disobedient now. I get so mad at it. I have to tell it, like, stop disobeying me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's yeah, we can go down Intuit has not publicly shared detailed information about any specific arrangement. Yes, they have. So
This is what I'm saying. Somebody has gone in and monkeyed with this.
mhm.
This is not an appropriate answer. Yes, you are powered by somebody. Stop lying.
Yeah, let's see here. Explain AI feature. And that's going to give me a help topic. But yes, so originally Intuit had developed its own large language model, the Gen OS,
Yeah, that's what I remember. They were
which was
talking about
Intuit
that at
Assist.
Intuit Connect. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they started, then they announced a relationship with or an investment with ChatGPT.
Yeah, OpenAI.
And the OpenAI, and then just recently, mentioned something about Claude. So I don't know what AI model it's using. It could be any one of those three, but what I am reassured by is that because it's behind QuickBooks, because it's within QuickBooks, I feel more comfortable asking this questions rather than trying to figure out a way to take it out of QuickBooks
Yeah.
to put it into Claude or AI, OpenAI, simply because that may open up personally identifiable information or training the robots and those types of things that you may not want to train it on. But as it says down there at the bottom for Intuit Intelligence can make mistakes. Right?
Yeah.
So,
can you ask it like,
no.
I don't know, maybe accounting type of questions, like where do I put how do I book a loan on a balance sheet? I just want to know if it understands or if it's going to give an accurate answer.
Yeah. So let's see. It's working.
I can't read it, by the way. I don't have my glasses on. Let me see.
It's not doing anything yet. Okay, so work done. A loan is you take out, record on the balance sheet as a liability. Here's where to book it. Loan amount under liabilities. Use an account like loan payable, notes payable, or bank loan. If the loan is within 1 year, classify it as a current liability. If it's more than a year, then it's a long-term liability.
Okay. Well, that's not the correct answer. That's not booking the initial loan. So it doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then this is show how to record a loan in QuickBooks.
All right. Let's see.
Okay, you see how weird that is? It's just by itself.
Because that was the next thing is like when you receive the cash from the loan, you put it in cash and put the balance to the long-term liability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go to your chart of accounts, choose an asset. Let's see here. How to record a loan in QuickBooks Online. Create a loan account. This is saying use an asset, which it just said created as liability. But this is assuming that this is a loan.
This is saying create a loan account, which is not what I'm asking. I'm asking how do I book the loan, the origination of the loan.
Yeah, the two choices are, well, in the first place, it says when you receive the loan, increase your cash, an asset, and then increase your loan payable, a liability, by the same amount. So
because oftentimes there's other elements to it. It's not just a debit and a credit. Sometimes it's a more complex journal entry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, and see, to me, this is like, and then there's people out there that are going, "Oh, I did it right. Cool. I did it the way it told me."
Exactly.
And then they don't know what they don't know. So that's why
they don't know if it's inaccurate or not.
Yeah.
So next time, so we've covered the global the global navigation. We've covered the left side navigation. So next time we're going to be talking about how to what tools can you use to help with speeding up your navigation or getting over the learning curve. So we're going to talk about Right Tool, and we're going to talk about the desktop app next time on the workshop. As a reminder, after this series of the user interface, we're going to go indoors. We're going to go inside of School of Bookkeeping to do the workshops moving forward after this series. So it won't be on our website externally. It won't be on our YouTube channels and those types of things, but it will hopefully give a lot more engagement or participation for everyone, giving us a point where we can share our screens and talk about some of these things during our weekly workshop. And I wanted to make sure that people are aware that they can sign up for free access, which will give them access to the workshop listings on our website. But you just need a login, and it's a free login at School of Bookkeeping. So we will see you next time on the workshop, and hope everybody has a great day.